Well, this is the house. So as you can see right here, there are a pile of bodies, and this is the torture chamber where we actually, what is it? Okay, that's Larry.
These are Big Mouth fans. On this side we have, oh, yeah, that's a Sonic fan right there.
That one's that one right there is definitely a domestic girlfriend fan. He,
who actually liked the ending. Oh.
Yeah, so these guys have been in trouble, but the house is all yours for $3,000. Please take it off our hands.
The Airbnb people that were mad at the beginning of Corona because they couldn't, like, no one was going out of town anymore, and they're like, we're losing our livelihood. Like,
why would
bro,
you
just
bet
let
all
people
your
in a
livelihood
room
on fucking Airbnb?
Like, that's a side thing, man. They do make bank though.
I mean, yeah,
if
but
they have a nice house, they got to get the nice house first.
just to go back a little bit on
people just don't take Corona seriously for no reason.
It's
like
stupid.
we could have been done. Like, look at New Zealand, we could have been done. Look at them, they're thriving.
And it's not like it's done permanently anywhere, but it's like,
ow,
we could be in a much better situation than we are. And obviously, if you're not from the United States and watch Loos Harlock, you probably have no idea what the fuck we're even talking about. But fuck it.
Or if you're watching this 50 years from now, if YouTube's still gonna be around. YouTube.
Good old shitty ass YouTube. But just to finish my point that I was making in the last episode of Doom, you know, I mean, you know, technically there are the people who say that FPGA consoles are stupid, and it's like, but it's not emulation. Like, it's not like the Retron 5 or Retro Freak or whatever. It's not emulating the game. It's not original hardware, but it's using the exact same specs. It's using the exact same everything, just with modern design techniques. And I forget what the actual term is, what FPGA stuff is. I believe it's hardware simulation. But the game isn't being emulated. It's just basically like playing on basically playing the game on new hardware. Basically playing the game on old hardware with the advantage of having modern design. You don't need, with an FPGA console, you don't need to have like 5 million capacitors in the fucking console. Like, one capacitor can do all of that now, because you can just map the functionalities to make it that way.
I know that Nintendo has, like, I know that Nintendo had the leak where, like, the source code of consoles have been leaked.
Yeah.
But, like, do they release, like, really old consoles, like, source code?
You have to figure it out. And that's the thing of, like, all the consoles made by Analog, the company,
or the schematics of the console.
I'm sure the schematics of the console basically are figured out by people over time. Because
I feel like
if if there's like a person from the company who's courteous enough to be like, here you go, but
yeah, they should release it if the console's like years old and not in development, and if they're about to go under, because like it's so important to at least give people the ability to try to recreate the hardware, you know?
I mean, you know,
in the future.
The Analog NT, the Super NT, the Analog SG, like, they are all, like, you know, the people who are like, oh, they're just emulating the game, but it isn't. Like, it isn't original hardware, but it's playing the game as if it was on original hardware. It's built to exactly replicate the original hardware. And, like, it plays accurate to the original hardware. Which is, like, why I really admire Analog's efforts, and, like, there are various companies that are doing, like, FPGA-based consoles, because, I mean, they're keeping those consoles alive. And, like, there are the people now who are making FPGA-based, disc replacements. So I know I'm not aware for many of them, but I know for the Sega Saturn and Sega Dreamcasts, there is an FPGA replacement where you can just use an SD card instead of using discs. Which is
And obviously,
cool.
the legal way to do it is use a cartridge to USB. Is that a thing?
Wait, what?
To your PC and then copy it.
Cartridge dumping is what you're referring to.
Cartridge dumping, yeah.
Where
I did that with Smash for mods.
which is basically the legal way to emulate a video game, which is if you have your own legally obtained copy of a video game, you are well within your
I'm pretty
right.
sure Nintendo tried to fight against that.
Huh?
I remember seeing a video. Nintendo tried to fight against that, saying that it was still like illegal.
But it's not illegal. They bought the game.
I know.
Stupid.
Just using the emulator.
Well, an emulator, from what my understanding, what the issue is with emulators is that the system BIOS.
They've been trying to crack down on emulation a lot, but they've failed. Like they've tried to sue, and they never won, and that's why they kind of like. I mean,
It's not that emulating a console itself is the issue. Is that the copyrighted part of a console that is owned from the manufacturer is hard. So that's why any, like, for example, for the DS emulator that we used for Resident Evil, those emulators don't come with BIOS. So it comes with everything you need except for the BIOS, because that is copyrighted by the hardware manufacturer. So you need to have your own obtainable way to get the BIOS. Obviously, what every emulator website will tell you to do is, oh, here's a method of how you can rip it from your own console, which is, which you can legally do. That's what makes it legal. The illegal thing is using a BIOS that is not your own and you did not purchase, and using that to emulate it.
It's just a very
it's a gray area.
Weird era. It's a weird area in terms of like companies have been trying to crack down on emulation, but it hasn't worked because the emulators have the right to, because they're not actually what you said, they're not actually using the BIOS, which is the thing that the company owns. They're just making something very similar to a GameCube or
no,
a
but
Wii.
the thing that makes emulation legal is that everything that emulators do is that they're copying the chips that were readily available to purchase. Custom chips, however, can't be replicated. But there are workarounds to get that. So, I know before, because I don't know if you know anything about this, but the NES doesn't have an RGB. It just doesn't have RGB video info because it wasn't built that way. It only has composite video info. So, what people used to do back in the days of emulating the NES to get that to get RGB mods and stuff was they would get the PPU, picture processing unit, from a PlayChoice 10 arcade machine, which was RGB, and they would install it into an NES. The problem is that those are calibrated the colors differently than an NES, so it's way fucking different. And it wasn't until Nintendo started re-releasing their own. It started re-releasing NES games that there were some pallets, but that you could choose from, basically, the emulators would make, but the two most popular palettes now are Nintendo's finally they made an official NES palette, which is based off the composite video, which is used on the NES Classic and on the Nintendo Switch Online. So that color that you're seeing there is Nintendo's own official color palette that they made to match the composite video from the NES. The other most popular one is it's sort of the same idea. It's somebody, I know Firebrand X, who is a famous guy for color pads and stuff like that, or mods with FrameMeister or OSSC timing profiles and shit like that.
The human souls coming together. We will stop it.
What he did is that he got he calibrated the colors off a like 5 consumer CRTs and like 2 different professional video monitor CRTs, and then like found the match of all in between them, and that's what his palace is based on. So like those are the 2 most popular NES palettes, and obviously there are the people who still use like the PlayChoice 10 palettes on emulators and stuff. But when I legally play games on
most people just use the built-in palette that emulators have.
Yeah, no, but most of them now use that like unsaturated composite palette, and obviously you can put your own palettes in there if you want. So whenever I play an NES game on my computer, I will use either the NES Classic palette or
I just flipped him over like a turtle.
Stop! I can't get off.
Those are funny.
Or I'll use the PlayChoice 10 palette just because seeing the funky colors sometimes is really funny, especially in the games that weren't on PlayChoice 10 arcade machines.
Fuck? Guys, it was just a joke. You guys are taking me out of context. Stop. I said I love demons.
But what I really like that people are doing now is that they're making sort of like FPGA alternatives to disc-based media, which is what I was mentioning about the people making ODEs, optical disc emulators, for you know, the Sega Saturn and Dreamcast, replacing, instead of having a disc in there, you can put the ODE in there, and then you can have an SD card with all the games, insert it in that bitch, and play that. And there are stuff like the SSDS3, which is an FPGA-based SD card media for the TurboGrafx CD. So you put it on the back of your TurboGrafx 16 or your PC Engine or whatever the fuck, how many of those consoles, the different variations of those consoles NEC made. And there is the Mega CD now, which is a Sega CD emulator. That's FPGA based. I say emulator.
Not you.
Wait, who is it?
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls guys again?
Give me ammo. Yes. I just looked back with no ammo. I'm like, oh, it's you. Where'd he go?
There he is.
I'll beat his ass. Watch. All right.
Are you sure?
Oh.
Oh, well.
Technically, I beat him.
One man activated. But I think game preservation
that's not even
is
how one man
super
is
important.
That's not how even one-ups work, man. They don't just bring you back like that. Like, that's like some Scott Pilgrim one-ups. Even in Scott Pilgrim, he like goes back in time. Scott Pilgrim is amazing. Like, I know it's like this quirky thing everyone likes to make fun of. Not everyone, but like a lot of people are like, they think they're better because, you know.
I never read it.
I read like I got the first book, but I just didn't have enough money to get the rest.
Yeah.
So, it was the first chapter. I mean, not the first chapter. The first volume was good. The movie's amazing. You watched the movie, right?
I did. When did that come out? 2008 or 2009?
9. I think 9. Maybe 10. 10 if we're
around
lucky.
there. I definitely remember. I was in elementary school when I watched it.
Stop. Oh my god, am I gonna die to dog?
You know what it's like? It's like Kick-Ass to me. Like, I know I watched the movie,
Yeah.
but I don't remember much of it.
It came out around the same time.
Yeah. Michael
Those
Cera
were
was
both
big.
like Michael Cera was even in Kick-Ass.
Wait, wasn't he?
No.
Who the fuck am I thinking of that was in Kick-Ass?
Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's Quicksilver in the Avengers movie. Avengers 2. He's also in the Godzilla 2016.
Are you a fan of Godzilla movies?
I like the idea of Godzilla. But I haven't actually like really like I haven't watched the 2016 version. I haven't. I just know that the Evangelion one's kind of cool. They really let the dude who made Ava make a damn Godzilla movie.
What else is he? What is his name? Ava guy. What is his name?
Ano, something Ano.
I always know that his last name is Ano. I never remember what his first name is.
I mean, I beat the Dark Souls guy.
Hideki Anno.
Yeah.
Hideaki? Hideaki? Director and screenwriter for... Oh, I forgot he did a Cutie Honey Tokatsu. What?
Yeah, he did some questionable things.
He's doing Ultraman? Let's go! My favorite thing right here is producer, Rebuild of Evangelion, 2007 to 2020. We're gonna watch that movie in theaters.
It's gonna be sick. We're gonna make a review on it. We're gonna play like an Ava like fan game. While talking about it. We gotta watch the first few though.
I haven't watched. I think I'm gonna binge them before we watch it.
I watched the first one, but it was like 6 a.m. I think it was like right after I finished Ava.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it, but it was just like the first episode all over again. The first part.
Yeah.
There was not really much changes. And what I watched it on is, I don't know, like I don't know what streaming sites it's on.
It's on like Kiss Anime and 9 Anime for sure.
I couldn't find it on. I don't know if it's on Crunchyroll or anything. It's definitely not on Netflix for some reason.
They don't put Ava on like anything.
Except Netflix, but they don't include everything. That's the thing I hate, when like something comes out on Netflix and like the rest of the series does not come with it. Like
that actually
Netflix had
with
Spider-Man 3 and nothing else.
That actually happened with the Kagi-san. So the first season was the first season that was done. Oh, no, other way around. The first season was done by Funimation, so it's on their thing, and the second season was done by was dubbed by a different company, so that's on Netflix.
Help.
Well, Harry will get this right next time on, well,
it's already next time.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We didn't even talk that much. Y'all got slaves in hell? That's kind of fucked up. Just let them burn for all eternity. Samuel L. Jackson's talking. See you next. Yeah, you already. Fuck. This is the bad. This is the worst ending.